and only vice presidential debate.
It's those that were closest to Donald Trump that understand how dangerous he is.
What have Kamala Harris's policies actually led to? More energy production in China, more manufacturing overseas.
What we learned tonight as J.D. Vance and Tim Walz came face to face. Also ahead, with just 5 weeks till Election Day, why Portland police say it's all hands on deck.
We'll be maximizing all of PPB resources to merely minimize and discourage criminal behavior.
Then, how local scientists say Northwest farms could help fuel planes. And later, young athletes with big dreams.
I like how it's fast and like how you get to a fence, and how quick it is.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. We'll get to local headlines in just a moment, but we begin tonight with the vice presidential debate and competing visions for the future of the country. Democratic Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota squaring off with Republican Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio in New York in their first and only debate before Election Day. Now, over the course of 90 minutes, they touched on everything from Iran's attack on Israel to inflation, the cost of housing, health care, child care, January 6th, gun violence, and immigration. Here's how Senator Vance responded to a question about former President Trump's proposal calling for mass deportations of immigrants.
We've got 25 million illegal aliens who are here in the country. What do we do with them? I think the first thing that we do is we start with the criminal migrants. About 1 million of those people have committed some form of crime in addition to crossing the border illegally. I think you start with deportations on those folks. And then I think you make it harder for illegal aliens to undercut the wages of American workers. A lot of people will go home if they can't work for less than minimum wage in our own country. And by the way, that'll be really good for our workers who just want to earn a fair wage for doing a good day's work.
Governor Walz responding by pressing Vance on his false claims about Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio. Take a listen.
This is what happens when you don't want to solve it. You demonize it. And we saw this. And Senator Vance, and it surprises me on this, talking about and saying, I will create stories to bring attention to this. That vilified a large number of people who were here legally in the community of Springfield. The Republican governor said, it's not true. Don't do it. There's consequences for this. There's consequences. We could come together. Senator Langford did it. We could come together and solve this if we didn't let Donald Trump continue to make it an issue.
Well, if you've been watching the last half hour or so, you also saw moments of graciousness with the candidates agreeing on some points, though they profoundly disagreed when it came to former President Trump's refusal to accept the outcome of the 2020 election, along with the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Ballots, by the way, for Oregon voters hit the mail 2 weeks from tomorrow. That's Wednesday, October 16th. And in Washington, ballots go out 2 days after that. If you'd like more complete coverage and analysis right now at NBCnews.com. Well, meanwhile, 5 weeks out from the presidential election, we're getting an update from Portland's police chief about how his team is preparing for protests and potential violence. Catherine Cook is here with a look at that. Catherine?
Well, for one, David, the Bureau's rapid response team is back after 3 years. They work in crowd control and are training with OSP this week. Also, liaison officers are meeting with community groups and offering to help those planning on exercising their First Amendment rights on election night. But what about groups planning to break the law? We asked Chief Day about that.
Know that Police Bureau is 100% committed to minimizing any criminal activity.
The message from Portland Police Chief Bob Day 5 weeks ahead of the general election. 5 weeks left to prime the public and prepare the rank and file for however November 5th shakes out.
This isn't just some, dream of mine. I think we can show up in a typical Portland way with a robust commitment to First Amendment expression, at the same time not engaging in criminal activity.
On paper, it's the optimal outcome, but history tells a different story. In 2016, after Donald Trump's win, protesters engaged in nightly demonstrations. Some gatherings turned into riots. Groups blocked streets and freeways. Some threw bottles and flares at officers. 4 years later, relative peace when President Biden won. But on Inauguration night, far-left protesters hit the Democratic Party headquarters, smashing windows and tagging walls. Some carried signs that said, "We don't want Biden, we want revenge." All through the pandemic, a steady stream of vandalism cost the city and private businesses tens of millions of dollars. But back to what November 5th might bring. For starters, every sworn officer in the city. Chief Day says he's canceling days off and staff will be on mandatory 12-hour shifts. All the other stuff? TBD.
My message to those that intend to engage in criminal behavior is that we will be interdicting that behavior. We'll be stepping in. We'll be making arrests. We'll be recommending cases for prosecution.
As the Police Bureau continues to prepare for election night, Chief Day says they do so amid lingering staffing issues. Right now, they have around 800 sworn members compared to more than 1,000 in 2019. David.
Yeah, and about 80 vacancies, all of that a big issue on the ballot in the city this November. Thanks, Catherine. Speaking of that, Portland's elections office has paused matching certain campaign donations while it investigates reports that some candidates for city council and mayor may have agreed to donate to each other in order to qualify for extra funds. Alma McCarty is in the newsroom with that update. Alma?
Yeah, David, so if you are a candidate donating to another campaign, well, that isn't a bad thing, and it's fairly common. After all, people running for office are often politically engaged and civic-minded. But planning to donate funds to a campaign in exchange for a donation in return, that's where things get dicey. The Secretary of State's office is investigating 4 candidates for Portland City Council who may have done this to see if they broke state law. In the meantime, the Small Donor Elections Program has temporarily frozen matches of candidate contributions. Candidates for City Council must raise donations from at least 250 Portland donors in order to qualify for the program and earn potentially thousands in matching funds from the city. I spoke with Susan Matei, Director of Small Donor Elections for the City of Portland. She's sorting through all the contributions given by one candidate to another.
We received tens of thousands of reports of contributions in the month of August alone, and this is a small fraction of it. So these contributions are getting a lot more attention than all the other ones, but everything will get sorted through and matched, if it's eligible.
She went on to tell me she doesn't think the candidates who may have agreed upon a donation exchange meant anything nefarious, and said she doubts they knew they were violating any rules. David?
Yeah, well, we'll see what the Secretary of State says as well. Thank you, Alma. Hey, speaking of the city races, we're just 2 weeks out from a debate that could help local voters determine the future direction of the Rose City. KGW partnering with the Oregonian to host a debate with the top candidates in the race for mayor, and we want to hear from you. Submit a short video, tell us your name, where you're from, and your question to the candidates to debate@kgw.com. You can also scan this QR code for details. And join us live. It is Tuesday, October 15th at 6:30 in the evening right here on KGW and streaming online and on KGW+. In your headlines tonight, President Biden is reiterating American support for Israel after it was targeted by more than 180 missiles launched by Iran. Many of those missiles were intercepted by Israeli and American forces. Some damage was reported around Tel Aviv and beyond, though Israel says the attack only caused a few injuries. The strike came after Israel assassinated the leader of Hezbollah, which Iran has long supported, in Lebanon late last week, and launched a ground operation in southern Lebanon. The Israel PM vowing to retaliate against Iran. The White House calling the attack a significant escalation, though adding it was ultimately defeated and ineffective. The Portland man who drove past blockades and nearly hit several people along the Grand Floral Parade route last year has now been sentenced to 5 years in prison. 43-year-old Sidney Meekum pleaded guilty to 2 felony counts of unlawful use of a weapon, along with 16 misdemeanors. Dash cam video from that day inside his truck shows Meekum blowing past roadblocks and refusing to stop.
I want to reassure everyone this was not a planned attack on Portland or the Rose Parade. This was poor planning and impulsive thinking.
Meekum added he was ashamed of his actions and truly sorry for the pain and fear he caused to hundreds of children and their families. Portland police say they have arrested 12 people in connection with illegal camping and trespassing on the east side. Authorities say their mission last Thursday focused on a multi-use path near I-205 between Southeast Holgate and Flavel. None of the people arrested were eligible for deflection. And more than 3,000 nursing home workers in Oregon say they are willing to go on strike. Contracts for some members of the Service Employees International Union expired overnight. Negotiations have been underway since June around issues like pay and benefits, including affordable health care. Members say they are prepared to take any action necessary, including going on strike, to settle their contracts. Matt?
All right, David, thanks very much. A beautiful warm day around the Northwest, and it's a warm night. We're still in the 70s here at 8:09 at night, so hope you enjoyed the day. We were in the 80s, maybe for the last time this year. We made 81 here and close to 80 around town here, Hood River 77. 80s right down the I-5 corridor till you get to the Rogue Valley, where they made it into the 90s. So again, just a beautiful, warm October 1st for us. Now, October 2nd will be cooler. It will be dry. We'll have some clouds in the morning. Not that many. There's a weak weather system drifting by to the north tonight that'll increase the cooler air coming in. So tomorrow's high only about 67, but that's a one-day event as well as we go back to warmer weather on Thursday. That, of course, will be followed by another change. We get showers on Friday for the first rainfall of October, and some of that will be substantial. We'll show you how much a little bit later on, but for the weekend, the 1st of October, we're back into sunshine. So it seems like it's changing about every single day, but most of the changes leave us with some pretty good weather, David.
Hey, sounds great. We'll see you in a few, Matt. A new survey shows people who use TriMet remain concerned about other passengers' behavior and the lack of transit police. Blair Best went to take the temperature from both the agency and its riders.
It's the familiar sound of public transit that many rely on to get around, yet it comes with mixed reviews.
TriMet and the bus system, the MAX system, just heaven. It really is.
I've seen violence. I've seen somebody stabbed on it. I've seen people doing fentanyl on tinfoil all the time in there.
A recent survey by a Seattle-based research firm talked with more than 4,000 TriMet riders. 73% of them approved of the job TriMet is doing.
Yeah, it's safe. Driver take the responsibility to safely reach the passengers.
Yet nearly half of those surveyed said it was safety concerns keeping them from riding, pointing to primarily other riders' behavior and lack of transit police. The survey also shows many would not recommend TriMet to friends or family.
There's people smoking meth on the MAX, and you have to get off.
I've seen a whole lot of that on the bus. The MAX. You know, you say something, they don't do nothing.
I do think it's gotten worse.
Just be aware of your surroundings.
We're confident that the survey is showing that we're moving in the right direction.
Tyler Graff is a spokesperson for TriMet that provides more than 1.3 million rides per week.
So the survey was conducted earlier this spring. Since then, we've added about 80 more transit security officers to the system.
What do you have to say to those riders who still don't feel safe?
More improvements are coming in the future.
TriMet continues to add safety and security staff and expand its cleaning team as it tries to improve its reputation.
I know there's already a lot of security, but I think it definitely is more of a security presence.
That's one reason why we do the surveys, though, is to hear both the positive and the negative, both from riders and from non-riders, because that helps us make decisions in the future.
There are currently more than 400 staff, the most ever, riding the trains and buses, watching out for dangerous behavior like drug use. And last year, TriMet launched a 24-hour hotline for people to call. They say if you see something, they want to hear from you. Blair Best, KGW News.
From the farmlands of eastern Washington right into the great blue sky, straight ahead on KGW News, the innovative way Northwest researchers are trying to power the planes of the future. And later, the basketball powerhouse that's now set to join the Pac-12. Stay with us. You cram a bag in the overhead bin and try to shuffle down a tight-fit airplane aisle is the cost of fuel. Now, researchers at Washington State say they're working on something that could become part of the future of flying. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri explains.
It takes billions of gallons to fuel flights from all over the world every year.
Jet fuel costs are one of the largest expenses for an airline.
A cost that consumers pay for to go on trips, but new research is turning to a more sustainable way to fuel those flights.
Everything you flush down the toilet or throw away in the trash, I can find someone that can take that carbon and turn it into jet fuel.
Joshua Hine is the director of Byproduct Sciences and Engineering Lab at Washington State University in the Tri-Cities. They have found that a certain material you find in types of plants like corn and certain trees can be used to fuel planes.
Lignin is the material that gives plants a lot of their structure and makes them strong. So naturally, it's one of the more difficult things to work with to convert into other useful products.
Bin Yang is the professor behind turning lignin that otherwise would be tossed away into a green alternative. Much of the process is broken down in his lab.
So we have a thermal catalysis process, separate the components, and I can put the carbohydrates for ethanol production.
With jet fuel expected to climb higher in price, turning to a much different approach that doesn't take much time at all.
Less than an hour. And we have a continuous. So now you have it continuous. What that means, you continue feeds, continue produce.
Will help the environment and eventually the bottom line of airlines and consumers. Joe Ranieri, KGW News.
Yeah, good to see that innovation happening right here in the Northwest.
That's super cool. If they can get it to scale, that'd be something. Yeah.
And another beautiful day.
So
another
good.
one.
Yeah, it's just a really good one. And we've got several more in the 7-day forecast, too. Let's take you outside right now. Take a look at downtown Portland, where, again, we're still in the 70s. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised by that, considering that we're on at 8 o'clock in the evening as opposed to 11 o'clock. We'll be on at 11 o'clock, too. But again, after an 81-degree day, it's down to 71. Now, Doppler radar. Yes, I have to show you Doppler radar. A few speckles over western Skamania County right here. We zoom out. See, there's a little bit of rain over western Washington, but watch the trend here. It goes from disorganized to like really disappearing over that time period of about 6 hours. So again, we won't get any rain, I think, south of the Columbia River, maybe a sprinkle or two up around Astoria as that cloud band moved on in. The other thing interesting on the satellite imagery, you got to look closely, but right there, that's wildfire smoke. Here's a closer look from the high-resolution geocolor, and you can see several fires have warmed up, heated up, producing smoke again after several days where we didn't really see any smoke, and that's because of the warm weather and the wind and the low humidity. So again, wildfire season still underway in Oregon. It's a lot better than it was, of course, in midsummer, but it'll take some serious fall rain and mountain snow to put them completely out. And this system will not do that. This is going to wash out pretty quickly. High pressure will build in behind it for more nice weather on Thursday. We may not be in the 80s like we were today, but we will be in the mid 70s, which is pretty great for early October. Then we will get some rain as we go into Friday. So here's tomorrow. Clouds in the morning. This is 8:30 in the morning. They melt away. We'll end up with a mostly sunny afternoon, some scattered high clouds here and there. And then as we go into Friday, that's when we begin to see a chance of getting more rain coming our way. This is Thursday, and that's going to be a clear, warm day again, as I mentioned. The Friday rainfall, we may end up with a quarter to a half an inch throughout the western valleys and up in the Mount Hood area, but you can see no precipitation south of this line, so it'll be northwestern Oregon that reaps the benefit of the rainfall from that Friday system. And yes, I would plan on rain for Friday night as this moves on through during the day, but also during the evening hours. And then for the first weekend of October, we go back to sunshine and some really pleasant temperatures in the 70s, potentially some more precipitation late next week, but nothing too stormy in the immediate or medium range forecast for us at all. 71 degrees right now. The freezing level is at 15,200 feet. All right, then on the Oregon coast, some scattered clouds up north in the morning, but then becoming sunny, and highs will be in the mid 60s, lows in the 40s. Once again, there's really not much left of this weather system that's coming in right now. Sunny and cooler in the valleys, lows in the 40s, but the high temperatures will be about 10 degrees cooler from the low 80s that we enjoyed during the day today. Up in the Cascades, also cooler. Freezing level doesn't change a whole lot as the cooling is coming in from the low-level air mass. 50 at Meadows, about 54 at Government Camp. Lows will be in the 30s, so again, a little bit cooler, but no snow, not yet. It's only October 1st. Sunny and breezy in central and eastern Oregon. Gusts to about 25 miles an hour. 69 in Pendleton, 72 in Bend. And in the Gorge, we're also looking at pretty good west wind, up to about 35 miles an hour from Hood River over to the Dalles. But it'll be sunny. 72 in the Dalles, 68 in Cascade Locks. And for the Portland area, it will be a sunny day after some morning clouds, and it will be cooler. Tomorrow's high 68, which is a little below average for this time of the year. We make up for it again on Thursday. We get to 76. Friday, cooler with the rain, only 69. But look at that weekend. And the dry weather continues on Monday and Tuesday of next week. So far, October is picking up right where September left off.
I mean, it's really nice not to be talking about heat waves or storms or really any extremes in any direction.
That'd be good. We'll hold on to that for as long as we can because, winter's coming.
Calm and comfortable. Thank you, Matt. Well, still to come, meet the young fencers advancing from local to national competitions. Why some say it's not just about winning medals. That's next. Center in Tigard over the weekend. Art Edwards shows us how it could lead to the national stage and beyond.
The strips at the Northwest Fencing Center filled with young fencers, a regional youth circuit event for fencers 10 to 14 years old.
I like how it's fast and like how you get to fence, and how quick it is. It's also, this is kind of random, but I like the noise of the clinking of the blades.
More than 200 fencers from across the Pacific Northwest competing to earn points that could lead them to national competition.
These are the same kids that'll be gunning for NCAA Division I championships in another 5 or 6 years.
U.S. fencing had its best results ever at the Summer Olympics, 7 medals, including 5 golds. That's given a boost to the sport and has drawn the attention of an interesting local sponsor. Big League Chew, the iconic bubblegum founded by Portland's Rob Nelson, stepped up to be a part of the event.
I just thought it would be fun, and it has been fun. It's been great fun.
These young athletes compete one-on-one. Their focus is amazing. Some of them have big dreams. For many of them, the dreams start here.
I kind of want to go to the Olympics, but I know that I'm probably not going to do that, but I kind of want to do that or do something kind of high up, maybe get first in the nationals or something like that.
The smiles on the faces of the competitors show just how much fun they're having. And it's not just about winning medals.
It's fun to hang out with my friends, and it's fun to work out, and it makes me feel good.
Feeling good might be the most important thing for these athletes. Art Edwards, KGW Sports.
Well, in sports headlines tonight, the Pac-12 has added a new school to its fleet, though before you get too excited, it's not actually a football school. Let's explain. The conference board unanimously gave basketball powerhouse Gonzaga the green light to join its ranks starting in 2026. Over the last 2 weeks, the conference, which was down to just Oregon State and Washington State at one point, also added San Diego State, Fresno State, Colorado State, Utah State, and Boise State. That is 7 plus Gonzaga, though the Pac-12 still needs to add one more football school to the mix for a total of 8 to make it an official football conference. Meanwhile, Portland Timbers midfielder Evander has been named MLS Player of the Month for August and September. He had a league-leading 9 goal contributions. That's 4 goals and 5 assists in those months. He is the second player in Timbers history to earn Player of the Month honors. The other was Fernando Adi back in 2016. Evander and the Timbers are back in action tomorrow night at Providence Park against Austin FC, and it's going to be another great night for the match. I think Thorns are playing tonight, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful night tomorrow night for the Timbers match. A little bit cooler than tonight, but still dry, which is all you can ask for, right?
Take it,
Go to a
right?
Timbers game. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. All right, let's check out the 7-day forecast. We got some clouds rolling in tonight, but they're going to break up by morning, so it becomes mainly sunny, but cooler tomorrow with a high of 68. Then a beautiful Thursday. Then the weather wheel turns again, and we get showers on Friday. That's by far the wettest day of the next 7 because the weekend looks great. And so does Monday and Tuesday. Now, we finished September with about 3/4 of an inch of rain. That's about half the average for September. But this is the beginning of what we call the water year or the rainy season.
That's right.
And the rainfall average is double basically from September to October. So this is when it gets real. This is when it gets serious, especially in the second half of the month.
So we'll hang on to the sunshine basically as long as we can, right?
Enjoy it.
Thanks, Matt. Coming up tonight on KGW News at 11, the story of a father who trekked some 17 miles through a hurricane just to walk his daughter down the aisle. How about that? That's coming up tonight at 11. If we don't see you then, happy Tuesday, everybody. Have a wonderful night.